Tapped in. Keep the credit, I'ma get it on the back end. Kick rocks, cutting corners, trying to cash in. We still outside, high as gas is. Watch them force you to EV. Tried to cut me out, but you need me. My value never shows up in the box score. A plus minus they never could have accounted for. No referee can save you. We just.
Yo, what's up? This is Raw Detroit back at you. What's up, YouTube? Let's get right into it. We're going to do the draft bio on Derrick Harmon of the Oregon Ducks. Definitely, he's one of my favorite players in this draft. And definitely, man, he's going to give you that size and that girth that you need in the middle and to give you that push that you need up the middle, especially if you're the Detroit Lions, man. You have to figure out, if you're Brad Holmes, how to finalize the defense. I think if the defense finally gets finalized this season, then this defense can really, really take off and do what they're supposed to do. But let's get into the Derrick Harmon bio. The path to becoming an NFL-ready talent rarely follows a straight line, and Derrick Harmon's journey from Detroit's Loyola High School to a potential NFL impact player embodies that truth. After 3 developmental seasons at Michigan State, Harmon bet on himself by entering the transfer portal and landing at Oregon, where he transformed from rotational piece to a defensive cornerstone. The 6'5", 310 power interior defender turned heads immediately in Eugene, racking up 5 sacks and 8.5 tackles for loss while anchoring one of college football's most dominant defensive front lines during Oregon's historic 13-0 run to the Big Ten title. His rise from 3-star recruit to all Big Ten performer speaks to both his work ethic and untapped potential. At Michigan State, Harmon showed flashes while collecting 3.5 sacks and 105 tackles for loss across the board in 28 games. But his one season as a Duck revealed a completely different animal. The light bulb didn't just come on, it exploded. Beyond counting stats, Harmon's 39 quarterback hurries tells the story of a defender who lived in opposing backfields. His combination of his first step quickness and raw power had offensive coordinators adjusting protection schemes and quarterback schemes ghosts. What makes Harmon's emergence even more impressive is how he dominated despite constant double teams in the run game. The Detroit native proved equally to adapt at penetrating gaps as a pass rusher and anchoring against combo blocks, showcasing the scheme versatility pro teams covet. His performance against Ohio State in college football playoffs semifinal, consistently winning one-on-one matchups against the future NFL linemen, solidified his status as a top 50 prospect in the 2025 NFL draft. So let's get into his strengths. We're going to talk about Harmon. Harmon displays a thunderous hand that enables him to consistently win the leverage battle at the point of attack. A natural power player who brings elite upper body strength and core stability, making him a nightmare for centers trying to reach block or guards attempting to drive block. Develop a devastating rip move that combines with his length, gives him a 3-down potential. Showed this repeatedly against UCLA's veteran offensive line. Outstanding spiral awareness and play recognition skills that let him diagnose plays during pre-snap, often beating blockers to their spot and disrupting timing. Harmon has a nasty bull rush that collapsed pockets from the interior, displayed particularly well against Washington's pass-heavy attack in the conference title game. Shows some real dog in him when teams try to reach block, will fight through contact to maintain gap integrity while working down the line. Quick processor who excels at reading blocks and schemes, adjusting on the fly, especially effective against zone running attacks. Natural leverage player, despite his height, consistently gets under opponents' pads and drives them into the backfield. This is the type of dude, if you're the Detroit Lions, you want guys like this. Derrick Harmon and Ty Robinson is probably like my 2 favorite guys in this draft. And definitely, man, both of these guys are monsters. They live in the backfield and they're able to cause havoc. And that's what you want. You want not only a guy that can create pressures for himself, but a guy that can also get to the quarterback. The Lions have a lot of guys that can create pressure, but they can't seal the deal and get a sack. That's what they need. Once the Detroit Lions front lines gets better, this defense is really going to take off, and the Lions are really going to take off, because we already know that the Lions have one of the best offenses in all of the National Football League. But it's going to be Brad Holmes' job to go out there and get the talent on this team. And I think, with Aleem McNeil being down for a little bit, drafting a player like Derrick Harmon would surely help the Detroit Lions front line. Definitely, man, it'll give them the big body that they need up front. It'll give them the push and a guy that can get to the quarterback and also cause havoc in the backfield. This is what they need, definitely, man. I would definitely sign up for Derrick Harmon any day of the week, man. Love what this kid brings to the game, but we're going to get into his weaknesses as well. Still developing consistency in his tackling technique. Will sometimes rely too much on arm tackles instead of bringing his lower body through contact. Can get over aggressive, pursuing the quarterback, occasionally running himself out of the plays when he loses containment responsibility. Needs to expand his counter move arsenal as a pass rusher. Tends to get stuck on blocks when initial move is stalled. Will occasionally play too high coming off the snap, especially when fatigue late in games. Allow blockers to get into his chest. Motor ran hot and cold during the Michigan State tenure. So with a guy like Derrick Harmon, you just want to be consistent. You want to get better, and you want to work on the areas that you need to work on. If it's working on getting an arsenal of pass rush moves, or if it's being able to just get better with stopping the running backs and being able to plug the middle, you just want to get better in those areas. But Derrick Harmon is definitely someone that I would definitely draft if I'm the Detroit Lions. This would be a guy that would be on my big board. Now, after studying every snap of Harmon's 2024 campaign, the tape reveals a defensive tackle with legitimate NFL starter potential. His transformation from Michigan State to Oregon wasn't just about coaching or a scheme change. The natural power and explosiveness were always present, but now they're weaponized. The way he consistently won one-on-one matchups against Ohio State's interior line in the playoffs highlighted both his ceiling and his remaining development needs. When his technique matches his physical tools, he can take over a series. So he can straight up take over a game. Harmon is one of those dudes that can take over a game and straight dominate his one-on-one matchups. And that's what the Lions want to win in. They want to win in a lot of those one-on-one matchups on the defensive line so that we can get to the quarterback and that we can cause havoc. The film shows Harmon thriving as a three-tech in attacking front, where he can fire off the ball and use his explosive first step. When teams tried running zone schemes his way, he frankly disrupted the match point by getting vertical. Though his occasional over-aggression led to some cutback lanes, the Browns, Ravens, and Jets, and perhaps the Detroit Lions, are teams that can emphasize penetrating interior defenders while having the defensive structure to cover from some rawness. Would maximize his strength early while developing his consistency. His snap-to-snap intensity still wavers at times, but the flashes are impossible to ignore. So this dude is so good that you can't ignore him. You hear me, Brad Holmes? You can't ignore a guy like this. You definitely got to put Derrick Harmon, who is a Detroit native, on your big board, because this is a guy that would give us that help while Aleem McNeil is down. He can be in the rotation, and this dude pretty much could eventually be a starter. The one-year wonder narrative deserves consideration, but it shouldn't overshadow the clear development arc, the traits that made Harmon effective at Oregon. The natural power, the heavy hands, the violent hands, the quick processing of plays were evident at Michigan State. Just let's redefine. He's not just a finished product and expecting immediate Pro Bowl impact and ambition. However, he's shown enough on film to project as a quality starter in the NFL with legitimate high-end potential fit if his technical development continues on its current trajectory. So Derrick Harmon is a straight-up dog, a straight-up beast on that front line, and that's what the Detroit Lions need. They need guys that can get to the quarterback, guys that can make plays, and bringing in a guy like Derrick Harmon would only help the Detroit Lions front line, as the front line would even be bigger with a guy of his size, because I know that Aleem McNeil is a little bit undersized, even though he has the weight. He's a little bit smaller in stature, but Derrick Harmon has it all. And definitely this is one of those guys that you would definitely love to groom and love to bring along in the process. Definitely by him standing at about 6'5", 310 pounds, this dude is going to be coming with it. So I can't wait to see at the end of the day what Brad Holmes is truly going to do in this draft. A lot of us want to know because we just want to see the defensive line get fixed. We know that there's still issues with the offensive line. You know that we still got to get pieces for the offensive line, and we got to get other pieces on the team, maybe a safety, a wide receiver, linebacker, things of that nature. We know that there's other pieces on the team, but I just want Brad Holmes to really, really focus on getting the defensive line finalized and getting this line to where it needs to be, and giving our new defensive coordinator, Calvin Shepard, the personnel that he needs to excel on the field. I think once that Brad Holmes decides to make this up in his mind and he's going to finalize his defense, I'm telling you, man, the Detroit Lions are really, really going to take off. The schedule is really tough for the Lions this year. They're going to have to play a lot of playoff teams, and it's brutal. So it's definitely going to be beneficial to them to getting help on that front four. Being able to grab a nice defensive tackle like Derrick Harmon, or being able to grab an edge in this draft is going to be so beneficial going down the line to the Detroit Lions. So hopefully Brad Holmes and the rest of the staff will do their homework and they will take a look at Derrick Harmon, because I think he brings what the Detroit Lions ultimately needs in the day, and that's a push up the middle and be able to get to the quarterback.